Welcome back, everyone, and today I have for you a video on 10 of the worst challenge competitors to ever be on the challenge ever. Now, I know in 35 seasons, there might be people that are way worse than others. You might take a look at this list of 10 people that I have, and you might be thinking, whoa, I can think of like 2 other people or 1 other person that's way worse than A, B, or C. Let me know that in the comment section below. This is a list I compiled as I looked through people's resumes, as I took into account how they were on their challenge seasons, if they got more challenge seasons. Some of these people, I can't believe, got more than 1 season, and they just squandered their opportunity, didn't do the right thing, or just showed that they just did not have the right stuff. I have 10 people here, and we're gonna just start off with this list at Kaitlin. Now, Kaitlin is from the real world Brooklyn. She came into her rookie season in Fresh Meat 2. She got the second to last pick. She picked Brandon Nelson. They were fine. They were really in the middle of the road / kind of lower on the totem pole. Episode 4, where they were gonna go into an exile. However, they were DQ'd before even making it into the exile because Brandon consumed alcohol before getting to the exile. However, there was a lot of talk that Kaitlin suffered a major injury from a daily challenge and was going to be medically DQ'd anyways. Her next season, which was Rivals, where she was paired up with Sarah Rice, who they were really feuding in Fresh Meat too. And so they were together, and even with a good partner, Kaitlin and Sarah just kind of were like in the middle of the road. They were faced into an elimination kind of early on in that season against Janae and Jasmine, and they lost. Kaitlin only had 2 challenge seasons, and she wasn't a physically dominant player, and she didn't have the social / political game to make her a force to be reckoned with. And it only shows because she only had 2 challenge seasons. The next one we have is a fairly recent competitor, and that is Shailene Sutherland from War of the Worlds. She only had 1 challenge season, and that was enough for everybody to say, okay, maybe we don't want to see her back on any of the challenge. In episode 1, we got to see how she did in the daily challenge as she was fighting for her stay in the house. She didn't get last, but she didn't do all that well, as she got to be able to have the 13th pick in the draft. She picked Leroy, and essentially after episode 1, she was neither seen nor heard. She was like Buster Bluth in the Milford Academy. We didn't see any of her until episode 6, when she finally got a confessional because she was going to be thrown into the elimination against Bear and Devon, where we got to see how Leroy and Shailene did in that elimination, and it wasn't good. And then outside of the challenge, there was a lot of people that did podcasts from this cast list, and even Leroy did some Instagram lives with Bananas, and nobody really had a whole lot of nice things to say about Shailene, but she did do better than this next person on the list, and that was Chase McNary, another Bachelor alum. He is known for being a stage 5 clinger to Nany in the War of the Worlds house. In episode 2, he started making out with Nany and then got super jealous when she went to go hang out with Bananas. And then he picked his partner to be Ashley, which Ashley just won the season prior, and she took home a whole $1 million to get her moniker of Ashley Millionaire Mitchell. And Chase did not do well in that elimination whatsoever. They were the first team out, and essentially we would never see Chase ever again. At least Shailene made it to episode 6, but Chase made it to episode 2. It was not a good look whatsoever. Now let's go back a little bit of ways and go back to Fresh Meat 2, where we are with Vinnie Foti. He was picked 10th overall in that draft by Sarah Rice, who they started canoodling with one another. They made it a whole 1.5 episodes before they were put into the exile against Kenny and Laurel. They would have had to play a flawless game to win against them in the exile, which didn't happen, of course. But Vinnie was able to come back for the next season of the challenge, season 20, called Cutthroat, where he was picked 1st overall by Siobhan for the gray team. Why? I have no idea. There's so many other challenge champs and better challenge competitors that were still left to pick, and Shauvon picked Vinnie. At least he made it further than his rookie season, as he made it to episode 3 before being thrown into the elimination and losing because he canoodled with Sarah Rice. They had a relationship with one another. He was able to come back yet again for Battle of the Exes, where this is just disgraceful. In episode 2, they were at the club, they were at the party, and Vinnie decided to do something stupid and violate Mandy by ripping down her dress or pulling up her dress and exposing her to the whole public and the whole bar, and it was absolutely disgusting. And he was thrown out and DQ'd from the challenge, and Sarah Rice was DQ'd as well. He had lackluster results in the physical department. He didn't use his brain well, and then he violates Mandy at the club. Is absolutely disgusting, disgraceful, and he squandered any and all opportunity. I can't believe he got 3 seasons. I think it's absolutely asinine on MTV's part that they gave him 3 shots. Now, speaking of cutthroat, let's go back and look at Shauvon Torres, who made her MTV Challenge debut on the 17th season of the challenge, called The Duel 2, where she got the rookie treatment by being thrown into the first elimination of that season, where she went up against Anissa and lost. So she was gone in episode 1/2, but she was back on the next season of the challenge, season 18, called The Ruins, where early on in that season, she fell off a rope during a daily challenge, hit the water really hard, and she withdrew from the game for medical reasons because she thought she popped one of her breast implants. And a lot of people on the challenge universe, challenge history, that's what Shauvon is mainly known for, is leaving the game because she thought she hurt herself. And then not only that, she came back for another season, season 20, called Cutthroat, where she was the Gray Team's team captain. Her first order of business was bringing on Vinnie to be a meat shield. And then early on in that season, she was voted in by her team to go into the gulag, into the elimination, and before that could take place, she withdrew herself. It's not a good look. She didn't look like she had the physicality or the political game to make it far into the challenge seasons whatsoever, and she was never called back on another challenge season after Cutthroat. And now let's get into a very big part of challenge history, and these next 2 competitors hold the record for the most challenge seasons without winning a single elimination. And we're gonna start off with Danny Jameson, is 0-6 in his elimination career. And Danny had a lot of great opportunities to win. Even when he was paired up in Fresh Meat with Evelyn, they just could not win. They were thrown in episode 1 and they could not win. Evelyn is a beast. How do you not win with Evelyn? Paula won with Evelyn, and Paula never won a single challenge before Evelyn. Danny also was on the Gauntlet 3 Veterans team, and he couldn't win that one either. I mean, he was thrown in late. I mean, some of the people that he's lost against was Davis, which he could have won against, Adam, which he could have won against, Darrell. Makes sense why you couldn't win against Darrell. Jill and Pete, E, and Wes and Casey. Again, totally can see why he couldn't win against some of those people, but on the other hand, how can you not beat some of these people? He looked like a physical dominant player. He just could not pan out well enough to win an elimination. And the next one we're talking about is Tyree Ballard. Both Danny and him hold the record for 6 challenges without a single elimination. His whole challenge career is he lost to Alton, which makes complete sense. Alton is a beast. He withdrew from Gauntlet 3 for family emergencies. Totally makes sense. Then he lost in the island. He lost the face-off against Evelyn and then lost the vote to Dan. His last 3 challenge seasons, he lost in episode 2 of Rivals, episode 4 of X's, and lost in episode 1 of Rivals 2. Absolutely melodramatic. I mean, granted, he was linked together with Dunbar, who also is very just like blah. But I mean, to be on 6 challenge seasons and not to win a single elimination. I mean, granted, Tyree is 0-5, whereas Danny is 0-6, but come on. I mean, you don't have any wins. Theo King Bradley, now he came on to Invasion of the Champs. He was facing off in an elimination against Corey in episode 3, and this is not an elimination that was physically demanding. This isn't a hall brawl. This wasn't picking up heavy stuff. Their elimination essentially was picking up 5 wicker balls and then jumping off of a cliff and doing it the fastest. When you're thinking about easy challenge competitions, this is up at the top. Corey did it, no problem. Theo couldn't even reach in to grab the balls. He declined ever jumping off of this cliff. I don't even know how he got up there or why he got up there. He just instantly gave up. He was lowered down very slowly, and you can just see TJ just absolutely, oh, he is so frustrated with Theo King Bradley. He was never back on a challenge season. It just doesn't make any sense why he was on the challenge in the first place. The next person, I have no idea how he made it onto not one, but 2 challenge seasons, and that is Derrick Henry. This dude was vying for Corey's title of Mr. MTV. Derrick H was on 2 seasons of Are You the One? He was on X on the Beach. Then he was able to be on 2 seasons of the challenge, and then was also on Game of Clones after his challenge seasons were up and done. How? How is that possible? He didn't do anything on the challenge. His first season was Dirty 30. He lost and did abysmal in the only elimination he went up against, and that was Corey in episode like 3. He lost, went to the Redemption House, so we got a couple of more episodes of him. He lost that one easily, was sent out of the game. The best thing that could have happened for him was dating Tori, and then that whole Dirty 30 cheating scandal, canoodling between her and Jordan happening, setting up this storyline for Derrick H to be able to return for another challenge season, Final Reckoning, where Tori and him were paired up. However, that was probably the worst thing that could happen for him, because even with him back on the challenge, he showed how terrible of a challenge competitor he really is. He did nothing physically in the challenge. He did not play a good social game. They were out early, and they never came back from a challenge from the Redemption House. How he got on so many MTV shows, I have no clue. And finally, the last person we're talking about is Brandon Tyndall. He was on Are You the One season 2. He was on Rivals 3, where he was paired up with his rival from Are You the One, and that is Brianna. They made it a full 4 episodes before Brandon was like, I want to go home. I miss my girlfriend. I don't want to be here anymore. Sinking not only his game, but Brianna's game. And TJ had the words to resistance, and he said, don't take care and see you never. And we did. We never saw Brandon again. We did see Brianna again because it was unfair for her. She came back for Dirty 30, but she didn't really do a whole lot either in her second season. But Brandon has to go down as one of the worst people in challenge history. TJ hates quitters, but to quit over because you didn't see your girlfriend for like 3 days is absolutely dumb. It's stupid. I mean, I'm glad I never had to see him back on my TV screen. But what do you think about those competitors? Let me know that in the comment section below. Which out of those is the worst in your opinion? And is there somebody in your mind or that comes to your mind that supersedes any of the 10 that I have or any of the 10 that I mentioned? Let me know that in the comment section below. I want to hear what you have to say. But thank you so much for watching. While you're down there, hit that like and subscribe button. I'll be back really soon with more challenge content, more content in general. I got top 10s, brief histories, top 5s, fantasy cast videos, much more. Also join me on Thursdays for the challenge Total Madness review and recaps, and for Survivor review and recaps, and join me Friday for Tiny Table Talk for the challenge Total Madness. But until then, peace.